Welcome to Whispering Loudly, the award-winning Workshop Whisperer podcast, as featured by Apple, with Rachel Evans, the #1 automotive business coach in the aftermarket, thanks to titanium sponsor Mechanic Desk and gold sponsor Podium.
Whispering Loudly is the Workshop Whisperer podcast. Hi, I'm producer Mel, and what we'd really like you to do is go to your app, wherever you listen to the podcast, and give us a review. You know, tell us what you think of the podcast. Give us any feedback. You can also contact us via our socials. Maybe you want to follow the Workshop Whisperer on Facebook or Instagram. DM us. You could DM us with a question you have about your auto repair shop, and we can answer it for you in Workshop Whispers, one of those episodes. There are so many ways you can contact us here at the Workshop Whisperer, and we'd love to hear from you. Coming up next, we are going to talk to Ed Tapley. We can't wait to have him on the show. Ed Tapley is the Regional Sales Director of Podium, and he's up next on the pod.
Avoid mistakes others are making and take your auto repair shop to the next level. To reach out, email admin@workshopwhisperer.com with the subject Workshop Whispers, and we'll answer your question in our next Workshop Whispers episode.
Whispering Loudly is the Workshop Whisperer podcast. Hi, I'm producer Mel, and you're here with Rachel Evans today.
Hey, Mel.
Hello. And we are joined coming up next by Ed Tapley. For our loyal listeners of the Whispering Loudly podcast, we're sure you've heard of Ed Tapley from Podium. He's the Regional Sales Director of all things automotive at Podium Australia, the interaction management platform that makes it easy for your customers to communicate with your business. He's passionate about helping auto repair businesses take things to the next level through modern technology and sales practices that can give your business an advantage over the competition. Just what we like. Thank you so much for coming on the pod, Ed.
Thanks so much, Mel. Pleasure to be here once again.
Ed, so good to be here with you again today. For our new listeners, can you tell us a little bit more beyond that wonderful introduction that Mel just gave you about yourself and the role you play at Podium?
Look, all things automotive, Rachel, whether it be partnerships, whether it be integrations, whether it be direct sales, making sure our customers are getting the support that they need. That's what I look after over here, and making sure, the ship is sailing in the right direction. That's pretty much my role over here, Rachel.
Fantastic. So just a quick rundown on Podium and what it actually makes possible for auto repair businesses.
Well, here's the thing. It used to be very simple, but, you simply had to focus on your workshop and what was within its four walls. And, outside of that, you didn't really have to give much consideration. The phone would ring and people would turn up, and it was as simple as that. But, now it's not. Being a business owner and a workshop owner, there's a lot more you have to focus on to ultimately ensure that your business is running smoothly and, you're maintaining your competitiveness in your marketplace. And, with the advent of the internet and, smartphones being in everyone's pockets, these have changed things immensely. And, along with that has come a whole lot of opportunity for you to evolve what you do and how you interact with your customers and, make sure that your service stands out. And Podium is a tool to do just that. Podium is about communicating with your customers in a human way. And for so many of you, one of the things you do really well is that one-to-one service. That customer service is a key part of what makes you different and what, gives you an edge in your marketplace. And, it's pretty hard to take that into the digital space. So Podium allows you to provide that level of service on messaging channels, on social, and the way you interact with your customers in the digital space, and the way you build that conduit from somebody deciding, I need to get my car serviced online, to seeing your online reputation, to landing on your website, being able to talk directly to your team, or even calling up your phone, you're busy, and picking up that deflected call and continuing that conversation over text, meaning no one gets left behind, and then making sure you've got plenty of opportunity, throughout that process to engage personally with your customers, avoiding those games of phone tag. Podium is a tool to streamline the way your local business interacts with customers right throughout that journey from first touch point to final sale, and does it really well, taking into account the digital space and the reality of your local business, be it people still need to come and see you in person and have a personal interaction with you.
Absolutely. And it really does allow you to have those multiple touch points with your customers. And we use it at the Workshop Whisperer to be touching base with our clients every week on multiple occasions. So we certainly know the benefits of it. Ed, on this Whispering Loudly podcast and at the Workshop Whisperer in general, we preach to our clients the importance of systemisation in their auto repair shops. Can you share a little bit about why systemisation should be a priority for our businesses and what limitations occur when businesses haven't put these systems in place?
The first words I want to mention, key person dependency. Now, it's very common that we see the business is all built around the owner. Now, this is a bit of a paradox in itself because business owners often want to become business owners because they want freedom, they want lifestyle, they want, to have financial success. The lifestyle, look, is a key part of it. And they end up getting sucked into the trap of building everything around them. And ultimately, it means that instead of being a business owner, they end up becoming an employee in their own business. And it's generally due to a lack of systems and processes which make it easy to scale your business, to have other people come in, for you to step away and take a breath. So a tool like Podium, where this comes in, whether it be managing your inquiry, making sure there's, instead of your own mobile phone being the one on the website, having a business number, making your business textable, whether it be you're the only person that cares enough to talk about upsells and cross-sells with your customers or maybe ask for a review, having a system in place that makes it easy for your team to undertake those activities, right, through a simple text message or review invite. Systemization is super important to ultimately enabling you to have a lifestyle business, because otherwise you're going to be tied to managing every interaction that your business needs to have with your customers. What are your thoughts, Rachel?
I think that not eliminating key person risk or key person dependency will ensure that your business stays small. And you may, in fact, be a one-man show even, for your entire business owning career. I think the sooner we get documented systems and practices in place, the sooner you're able to allow other people to help you. So, Podium is this amazing platform that we can use to contact our customers. But one of the best parts about it is that it's so easy to train your team to use that it's not one of those things that only you can operate. So this is something that you can use your team as leverage to help you grow your business. And we grow our business by providing great customer service, by providing options when it comes to payment. So it's really, really important that we don't look at systemization as just having written standard operating procedures, but practices that we can carry out that will help us to improve some of those things that we have to do really well.
100%. And, something as simple as being an easy-to-use system, which means in a matter of seconds, you can send out to a customer, hey, we can also do this on your car. Would you like us to undertake this work? Send back yes, if you want to approve.
Yeah.
If that's easy for your team to do, they will be able to do it. If you enable them to do it, they'll do it. But if you don't have a system there, and what it requires is friction on their part, friction on the customer's part with this game of phone tag that ends up happening, it doesn't end up happening, then you will ultimately be tied. Because there's a couple of ways you can grow your business. You either get more customers, which costs a lot of money, or you can look at the individual customer and what that customer is worth to you. So growing the value of the individual customer is a lot easier when you've got systems and processes in place which make it easy to implement these cross-sell and upsell tasks.
Definitely.
Join our free Facebook group, Your Profitable Auto Repair Shop, and join in on the conversation with auto repair shop owners just like you globally.
Let's think about advertising and how there's been huge changes in the advertising space, particularly in the last decade, especially since COVID. What would you say have been the biggest differences between what it was to advertise a few years ago and how we advertise today?
Well, the evolution is that It used to be you had to buy someone else's audience, but now you can build your own. You know, the internet, smartphones, it's given us a greater interconnectedness, you know, more than we've ever had. And, you know, why would you pay for someone else's audience when you can build your own? And, you know, the one thing that has worked for businesses throughout the ages is reputation. People now start their journey, whether I want to get my car serviced, I jump onto Google and I start Googling. Now, you can either pay for that space or you can build that reputation, which means you own it by default. And, you know, taking that leap is not as scary as it may seem, right? Come back to the basics. How many customers do you have through your shop? How many customers do you have in your database? What percentage of them are happy? 90%? 99%? Look at your Google reviews. Look at your socials. Is the reality of your business accurately reflected online? Have you got maybe around the 4-star Google review, but day to day, you're delivering 5-star service day in, day out? Have you got engagement on your social channels that's getting people excited to do business with you? Because there are thousands of workshops out there, but there's only one of you. Get out to the market. What's unique about you? And online reputation is a fantastic way to do it. And you don't have to pay for it. It's free. Word of mouth is free. Online reviews are just the modern evolution of that.
So, Ed, in one of our recent JFDI episodes where I go on a bit of a rant, we were talking about upselling. Can you reiterate to our listeners how you can grow your margins and profits just by upselling and how Podium can help us do this?
100%. So it comes back to, Rachel, that, you know, you either, to grow your business, you've got a couple of options. Go spend more money on marketing. You know, you'll get more customers through the door. Well, if you've got more customers, it means you're probably going to need more staff to service them. And we all know what staffing is like out there in the industry at the moment. So how do we grow our bottom line? Well, we need to get better customers. We need to get higher value customers. We need to make sure that every time a customer comes through the door, we are looking after them as comprehensively as possible. And, you know, something as simple as the ability to have a seamless two-way text communication throughout the course of servicing someone's vehicle provides a wealth of opportunities. Maybe their battery is coming to its end of life, and a large percentage, a sizable percentage, and what can for your business become a very profitable percentage. Maybe those people need a new battery. Maybe there are some tyres on that car that need to be changed over and you've got the facility to easily do that. Maybe there's an electrical problem. The alternator needs to be switched out. I don't know. The wiper blades, the brakes need to be checked. There are so many additional services we can provide our customers other than the standard and ultimately what they've come in for. And if we can look at ways to grow the average dollar value, well, we then need less customers. Less customers then means less staffing, which means less cost to the business, which then means maybe we actually free up capacity to take on more business. Ultimately, as a business owner, you're getting into this for lifestyle. You want financial freedom, ensuring that that funnel is optimized, that your conversion tools are optimized, and ensuring that your systems are optimized ultimately to deliver you the bottom line that ultimately you and your family deserve is super important. And, you know, you may be busy, but, you know, there's always opportunity to increase the dollar value that you see out of your clients. I mean, Rachel, what are some of the common things that you see that workshops can do to increase the dollar value they see out of every customer?
I think the first thing that we have to identify is the opportunity on every car. So the best way to do that is to make sure that the workshop isn't overbooked to begin with. So we need to be allowing space in every day for upsell opportunities to be taken up by the customers, because we want to be a one-stop convenience shop for our customers. We don't want to identify work that needs to be done, but say to the customer, but you'll have to come back in 3 weeks' time to get that work done. We're too busy. So the first part there is making sure that we're leaving the book open for, somewhere between 2 and 5 hours a day, depending on how many technicians you have, of course, to allow that work to grow into. But the next step is making sure that you've got a proper inspection process so that you can identify all of these extras that you're talking about. And then the final piece of the puzzle is putting that work to the customer. It is not for you to decide if the customer can afford it or not, if this is the right time in their life or not. Your job, it's your duty of care to put especially safety concerns to the customer and then let the customer decide. People have their phones with them all the time. Being able to put those recommendations to them via text, if that's the option that you'd like to use. And you can set that up when the customer brings the car in. If there's any additional work, we will send you a text message. Can you make sure that you've got your phone handy, and get their agreement so they know that it's coming if those extra recommendations are required. And then, as you said, it's so quick. You can get the yes back in no time. If you get a no, well, then perhaps you need to add into your procedure to give a call, especially if it's a safety concern that you're really worried about, so that you can perhaps give some extra education to the customer. But following that process, make sure you've got the space to allow for upsells, make sure your inspection procedure is top notch, and then make sure you are putting the opportunity to the customer for them to decide.
And I think one of the common things we hear, Rachel, is calling. We need a call. We need to get on a phone call. Well, a lot of the fear around that is people think that it's not personal. Well, how do we communicate with our friends and family? Messaging. So the thing is, there's always going to be situations where it's going to make sense to pick up the phone. And this is not a replacement to that. This is an enhancement to that experience. The businesses that win these days are the ones that are all about reducing as much friction for the customer as possible. And your customers are all busy. They drop their car off. They go back to work or whatever they're doing, they're busy. They're not waiting by the phone to hear from you, to talk about X, Y, Z needs to be done. A simple text is a seamless experience, and one which is still quite personal because it's going to be among the messages that they're having from their friends and family. And the thing is, when we look at then customer retention, it becomes really powerful because you're simply then a contact in their phone amongst their friends and family, which is about as human place you could possibly be.
Absolutely.
Take a smoko and review us on your Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen.
Just finally, Ed, I was quite excited to have a look at the new ebook that Podium has released recently on the state of local business. Can you tell us about a couple of significant findings in there and what that might mean for us with digital advertising?
So this is an exciting new thing for us. So it's going to be an annual report that we do. The one thing that really jumped out at me, so reputation is still super powerful when it comes to competing online. But that's not just where it ends. Customer experience is the second most important thing when it comes to winning and retaining customers. So this is a survey of around 1,300 businesses and consumers right across the spectrum, across Australia and the US as well. But 79% said that reputation is the biggest differentiator. And this is really backed up by the fact that, just think about ourselves. When we want to find something, we simply pick up our phone and we jump onto Google. And over 90% of search happens on Google. Purchasing decisions start on Google. So second to that, though, customer experience. 74% of people reported that customer experience was the biggest reason that they would stay and engage with a specific business. Thirdly to that, 9 out of 10 people reported that they would go out of their way to do business locally. Now is the time, more than ever, off the back of COVID and, the tough couple of years that local businesses have had. Capitalize on that. This is the time where you can now really leverage your reputation to engage those customers who will go out of their way to do business locally where they can. So 9 out of 10 people reported that they would go out of their way to do business locally, which I think is a fantastic stat for us to bear in mind. And ultimately, it's lessening the importance of price.
I think they're great findings, and for us as business owners and for you listening as bricks and mortar business owners, super important key findings, and to really trigger some thought around, what are you doing with your online reputation, and how are you putting your best foot forward in order to attract those people into your local business. Ed Tapley, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, and Podium, special friends of the Whispering Loudly podcast and of the Workshop Whisperer. We love having you on, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thanks for listening to Whispering Loudly, the award-winning Workshop Whisperer podcast, as featured by Apple with Rachel Evans, the #1 automotive business coach in the aftermarket. Thanks to Titanium sponsor Mechanic Desk and gold sponsor Podium.